Sounds good. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's 3 o'clock and time to rock. What's up? Fast Freddie here for our first show for the month of September, and we are definitely ready to rock the house here this afternoon. Had a great weekend. I hope you all did too. Let's see. We had a couple of nice bike rides. I had a chance to get out and do a little motorcycle riding this weekend. On Saturday, let's see. Saturday, I went up to Conneaut Lake to a place called Silver Shores. Nice place up there. And they have a nice marina and some good food and some cold drinks. And from Conneaut Lake, I went over to Paradise Bay and Roaming Shores. You ever been to Paradise Bay?
That is my favorite. Roaming Shores is amazing.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you what, though, man. You got to be a tippy wife or something to live in Roaming Shores, man. I was just happening to go through, I was looking up something online for Roaming Shores. And, boy, they have like it's like the whole thing is a private community. They even have a private police force and stuff. And, boy, the homeowners association there has some rules. That's why I'm surprised they let Paradise Bay. It must be grandfathered in, because when you start reading about the rules and stuff to live in Roaming Shores, it's pretty ritzy.
You have some royal blood in you and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, right. And so I'm surprised they still let motorcycles into Paradise Bay. But, boy, that's a great place. Excellent food. They have a great meatball sandwich. Every time online I see that meatball sandwich, like, I got to get up there and get a meatball sandwich.
Are we still looking for a perch sandwich?
You know what? I'm going to try to get one. You know what? Time is running by so fast. Just getting this up and running when we were able to start. I wish we could have started in June. Or in May.
Right.
So, now for next year, though, we'll have a lot of stuff going.
See, I'm just picturing people, once they heard you were looking for it, they'd be chasing you around saying,
"Taste
my perch sandwich."
Well, most of them are far away, though.
Yeah.
Then, let's see. What did I do on Sunday? We took a little ride up to Conneaut, Ohio. And they have this, I think it's called the White Goose drive-through. And it's like a vintage 1950s root beer stand, and they sell the vintage Richardson's root beer and stuff, and that's really cool. And then there's another place there called the Breakwall right in Conneaut Bay, right at the end of Route 7. You go down the hill there, and they have some great barbecue there, and you're right on the water, and you're looking out over the lake.
There was a mystery this weekend, by the way. So I noticed this on Facebook, that somebody said that they went to the spillway and there were no carp in the spillway. First time that anybody's not seen
over
them.
in Linesville.
Yeah.
Get the hell out of here.
They showed a picture on Facebook of the spillway.
Yeah.
No carp.
Now that's unbelievable.
Crazy.
Because I was by there the other day and there was some.
That's what everybody was saying. That
we went past there on the way, from Conneaut Lake to Paradise Bay, so we went down and through Linesville, cut across there. There was a lot of people feeding them, and it looked like there was fish in there. And then, of course, we went over the Causeway, down Route 6, went over to 45, and Paradise Bay, here we are, But that's amazing. Somebody told me that the carp at Linesville, that is the biggest tourist attraction in Pennsylvania, bigger than the Liberty Bell in Independence Hall. That's what they say. I don't know. Is that true or not? But, one time we put a guy in a bread suit and threw him in there.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
That's I have nightmares about falling off that ledge.
You know what?
Oh.
I hate to give away the secret. Maybe one day I will, but we did it, and I wish it was in the days of Facebook and all that kind of stuff, because it was pre all that. And but we had to get out of there pretty quick, because once the word was out and everything, we didn't want the we were broadcasting live, but we didn't want the game wardens and stuff to get out there. But we definitely put a guy in a bread suit and threw his ass in there. Hi, Ashley. Thanks for tuning in. Wally, how are you today, ma'am? Good to hear from Wally over in Western PA. But it was pretty wild, to say the least. And we put a strategically placed hot dog bun right where you would imagine. There's pictures out there on the internet somewhere.
I gotta find it.
There were some still pictures, but like I say, this was before cameras and all that kind of stuff, where everybody had a camera and that sort of thing. And plus, we were a little worried about the cops getting there.
Who was the unfortunate soul? Who went in?
Tim Fowler from Niles, Ohio.
Wow.
Tim Fowler, we put him in a scuba suit, and we just had him all just completely covered in bread from head to toe. And we had a rope on him and threw him right off the fence there into the pond. And it was pretty wild. It was pretty wild. I wish we could have left them in there longer, but we didn't really want the cops to show up. But no fish at Linesville. What the hell's up with that?
Did they strip all the bread? I gotta know. Like, did they make a go at them? Don't spoil it.
I don't want to spoil it.
All right.
You know what? It's almost I want to challenge other people to do that, so you find out what really happens when you throw somebody in there. It's a well-kept secret. But
Too much.
But it was wild. It was very wild, and I just wish I had a camera. That's why maybe I don't want to give it away, because I would like to film it again at some point. But you got to do a commando mission.
We got to find somebody who's willing to take that on.
Yeah. We can find somebody easily. So we had that going on, and I'm just surprised. And what else did I do? And then went over to Geneva on Sunday. Sunday. Geneva was jamming.
Was it nice? That's good to see that thing sprung back to life.
Oh
so quick.
yeah. I mean, there was a lot of people there. Then I was over at this one place called the Pavilion. My buddy Butchie runs it. He owns it. An old guy from Cleveland, and some of our friends from Youngstown. I do got to give a shout out to Jeff and Marlo and their whole crew. The Pavilion Bar has an upper deck patio, right? Well, those two and some other crazies from Youngstown were there all day throwing beads off the thing of the pavilion. Oh man, I mean, let me tell you, it was almost like Mardi Gras.
Right.
It was a smaller version of Mardi Gras, but I'll tell you what, man, there were some tits of flash in there. I'm telling you, it was pretty wild. So that was a good time, and so that's I got a little bit of riding in this weekend, so that was pretty fun.
Weather was good for it.
Oh, perfect. And you went down to Virginia Beach.
So good. So good.
Awesome. I'm so jealous, man.
Dipping in the ocean. I think everybody needs that.
Yeah, you do. What do they call that? Blue therapy. I think there's a term for that. Blue
so
therapy.
Needed.
Yeah, so that was some of the stuff that I did this weekend, and like I say, there was a lot of people out and about, and Geneva was jamming. But see, I'm still a little nervous about this whole thing, because I'm a little overweight and I got asthma and some other issues that I'm dealing with. So it's like, am I playing Russian roulette? But you got to get out there. I mean, you just can't sit at home.
Well, when I was up there, everybody was masked up. Everybody was following social distancing. It was really good.
Well, they're supposed to have their Thunder on the Strip in Geneva this weekend, a big 3-day motorcycle thing. But the health department up there has been really kind of strict, So they're trying to keep people away. But I just figured out the thing. If you want to draw bikers to an event, you say you can't go. I mean, like Sturgis, even bike night tonight over at the Ice House, you say, you know what? You can't go. It's like, screw you! What do you mean we can't go? We're going.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I think that's the new advertising ploy. Hey, we're having bike night tonight, but you better not show up. You're not allowed to be here. Yeah? Well, watch this, you know?
The Eric Cartman.
Right. So then they have, so this weekend at Geneva, they're supposed to have that big bike week, but the health department's not allowing them to have vendors and stuff. But from what I understand, a lot of people are just showing up anyways. They're like, screw you.
What are they going to do?
Don't tell us what we can do is pretty much the attitude. And it's, so yeah, we'll see what happens. But, also I got to give a shout out to my buddy Damian Knapp. I caught Damien. He was playing at the Cove in Geneva. Now they really had some social distancing there because I guess the health department, it has been on a lot of these places, So for live music, they had him way in the back inside when they should have probably had him out on the patio. He would have driven more people in.
Right.
And then there was he was on stage, and then you had the whole dance floor, and then the whole section of tables, and then you had people sitting at the bar, and you couldn't even hear the music out in the streets. So it was kind of tough for him because he's almost like, I'm sitting here by myself strumming my guitar.
Yeah, if you want to kill a place, do that.
Yeah. I mean, it was a little crazy for him, that's for sure. But the Cove has an interesting history. The Cove in Geneva on the Lake was started by a guy from Newcastle, and this guy from Newcastle went out to Palm Springs and he hooked up with Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin, and he was in the catering business, the bar business, the hospitality business. And after he hung out with those guys for a while, he decided to come back to Geneva and start the Cove.
No shit. Wow.
And people like Jimi Hendrix has played at the Cove in Geneva on the Lake.
Dang.
The James Gang, a lot of interesting bands have played there over the years. more recently bands like Mushroom Head and some people like that, and some of the hair bands have played there. But yeah, that place has a heck of a history. It goes way, way back. But I love Geneva on the Lake. I always talk about it. I love it. I had a chance to go there a lot this summer. I just like going up there and riding down, 531, and all the different vistas of the lake, you might as well be riding through Southern California or something. When you ride along Lake Erie and you just see how big it is, and there's some of them wide open spaces every once in a while, and you're just looking and going, man, this is good. I could go up there every day and look at Lake Erie. I've talked about that before.
Yeah, you see how other people live too.
Great. Oh yeah, some of them houses that those people have right on the lake.
Heck
those
yeah.
are those got to cost some bucks, man.
Yeah.
I always look at those. I go, wonder what the hell those people do to have a big brick like mansion right there overlooking Lake Erie, man. But
they've done something right, that's for sure. So have you ever been to that medieval fair that's up there? I think it's off 534. Up that way?
You know what? I have never been to the medieval fair.
Oh, you gotta go.
I have never been there.
Oh.
You know what? Everybody tells me that. I always kind of thought it was kind of hokey or whatever.
Is.
I
It
admit.
totally is.
But I've never, and everybody I talk to that I say I've never been there, that's the first thing that they say. They go, "What do you mean you've never been there?" We've given away tickets. We've had people, interviewed tons of people, and who's the one guy, Zot Slot or something?
Dude, they live it. Like, they get into character, and they're just in it. It's so funky to see that.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yay, Mike. That was me up there, Geneva. But then again, there's a lot of guys that ride motorcycles that have a long gray beard and a belly and a long graying ponytail. So, yeah.
What kind of bike do you got? I've never seen your bike.
I have a 2008 Harley-Davidson Ultra Classic, 2008 105th anniversary edition, special paint. Nice bike.
Very cool.
Nice bike. I had a lot of fun. I'm not done yet, but yeah, and then yesterday, was yesterday not a crazy day? Yesterday, it thundered and lightning all day. I don't remember when we had a day where it thundered and lightning for like 8 hours. I didn't even want to get up and do anything. It was just like, okay, I'm laying in bed looking at my phone and playing some music and stuff, and it's like, boy, is this relaxing, And it was just like, because I love thunder, I love lightning, I love that. And yesterday was just the day for it, man. I mean, it was just like, okay, what else are you going to do, man?
Yeah, I got to Altoona and I saw the gray skies and I was coming back to Ohio and I thought, what hellhole is that ahead?
Don't you just love that? Even, coming back from Florida, it seems like once you get, especially if you go in the wintertime, late fall, and you're coming back, and usually it's nice through Virginia. It's tolerable.
Right?
Okay, so you're down there, and you got the 80 degrees, even the 70s in Florida
got the
at that
window
time of
down.
the year. Yeah, and then you come through, that tunnel in Virginia.
Right.
And then you hit the West Virginia Turnpike, which could be either deadly or it could still be nice. But once you cross the river in Marietta into Ohio, it just goes progressively downhill. And it seems like you're going uphill and you're going uphill, and you go past Zanesville and everything. And then once you get just outside of Canton, it's just like, it's just gloom and doom. And I don't know why that, well, I know why it is. It's Ohio. Yes. But it was a good weekend, and I had a lot of fun, and
Good thing you picked Saturday to go up there, because Sunday would have been a wash. Monday. Yeah.
That's why I didn't have a lot of stuff going here today, because I was still thinking, today's only Monday. Right. I got another day, and I'll go down and hang out with Joe for a little bit and figure out what we're going to do or whatever. But anyway, so that was my weekend. Got a lot of riding in, and had a really good time all over the place. So I guess we might as well get down to it here. I see a lot of goofy news stories today. It looks like a lot of people were drinking on the south side of Youngstown this weekend. There were two incidents that were really pretty good. One guy filed charges against his aunt, who repeatedly hit him over the head with a bottle of Hennessy and knocked him unconscious.
All right, that's a good one.
And then she ran over some guy. I think his dad's foot. She ran over somebody's foot. Got run over in that melee. And most of the witnesses there were too drunk to even testify what was going on. And then somewhere else on the south side, once again, heavy alcohol consumption. Go figure.
I see a theme.
You're right. And a guy whacked another guy with a machete. Now, how badass do you have to be when you start wielding a machete? You know, I guess if you're going to wield something, you know, I mean.
We're back to the medieval fair. Those guys are in character.
Right. Well, up there too, you know, they have the big turkey leg, right? The
right.
Turkey
Club
leg.
someone over the head with
Right.
that sucker.
You know, they sell those down at the Rogers Flea Market too, and I always thought that there's several advantages to the giant turkey leg. Okay, you could use it as a weapon, as you said. You could also have it as a snack, or you could stick it in your pocket to impress the ladies, you know?
Sure.
And if you're at Rogers Flea Market and they say, is that a giant turkey leg in your pocket or are you just happy to see me? Either way,
You win.
it's a win-win. So that's why I'm always a fan of the giant turkey leg. Then we had another guy who went on a little LSD rampage over in Boardman over the weekend, running around naked, tripping on acid,
Oh,
and
nice.
got into a scuffle with the cops. And appropriately enough, it happened at Dick's.
A million jokes.
Right.
there.
It's like, see, that's why I keep saying, Florida man, you don't have anything on Youngstown man or Ohio man.
We don't even have to be creative. We could the jokes write themselves.
Yeah, we have, you know, we could go toe to toe with Florida man if need
yeah.
be. Got to find this other story I saw that was pretty interesting and pretty bizarre. They had to bust out the what do they do when they find strange chemicals, whatever that squad is
Hazmat?
these days? The hazmat in Germany on a bus because they found some suspicious fluids in some test tubes. And they took it back to the lab, and it turned out to be hamster DNA.
What?
It was hamster sperm
Someone-
in these little vials that they found on a
wait.
bus. Well, that's what everybody's saying.
What happened prior to the test tubes? I need
That's-
to know.
Yeah, really. That's the real story. I think everybody wants to know what was going on there. But it was like, it's like, what the heck was going on there, man? Who carries, who gets on the bus with a bunch of hamster sperm? I mean, I think that's really pretty crazy, you know. I don't know. But that didn't happen around here. Darn it.
I don't even have a quip for this. I don't. You bring the hamster sperm out, and I'm clueless.
Yeah, you think that maybe you'd find that on one of the WRTA buses somewhere, you know.
Yeah, well,
Who knows?
here. Okay, I got a theory. Okay, they buy sperm, right?
Right.
And so maybe somebody couldn't produce, and they left out, right? So they got their buddy hamster, and they went to make a couple bucks.
It could be, hey, they do that with other animals, with farm animals and stuff.
right.
I saw that one they had the other day. It was like a goat that had like these giant testicles. It was like the breeding goat. And he even had looked like or it might have been a sheep, and he just had like this mean look on his face and these balls that were like the size of
Uncomfortably sized balls.
Yeah, right.
So speaking of that, did you follow any horse racing? Did you see anything?
No,
over the
you know
weekend?
what? With the Kentucky Derby being when it was, I didn't really get a chance to check that out.
Yeah, there's huge money in the
Oh,
the
yeah.
horse side of things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the whole world of sports is all thrown off. Browns are starting. I don't know how this whole thing is going to go. First of all, you're only allowed 6,000 people in the stands, which to me is a little bizarre.
weak, yeah.
And then I think, well, shouldn't they have let a couple of thousand people in for the tribe? I mean, I'm sure you could social distance and everything.
Sure.
And what do you get? Sometimes you only get 10, 12,000 people for a tribe game. So, I think they could have did that, but. Speaking of the tribe, today is the anniversary on this date where did I have that? Speaking of the tribe, on this date I can't remember now. But anyways, they won 15 straight games, and that set a franchise record. That had to be a couple years ago. Can't remember exactly when, but that was on this date in sports history. And what else is going on?
You've been an Indians fan your whole life?
Oh yeah, my whole life, and a Pirates fan. I've been a Pirates fan too because when I was a little kid, the YMCA always used to take us down to the Pirates games back in the day. Forbes Field, Bill Mazeroski and Roberto Clemente and all those guys. So I always liked them, and back in the day it was like, there wasn't that big of a Cleveland-Pittsburgh hatred, I think. Because back in the day, the Browns owned owned Pittsburgh, you know,
yeah.
so I don't think it was as venomous as it is now, because nowadays it's like, you know, if you're a Browns fan, you got to hate everything Pittsburgh regardless, you know. But I like the Pittsburgh Penguins. You know, I've always been a hockey fan going way back to the day. And, you know, I've always liked the Penguins, because I figured, well, there's no crossover here. Same with the Pirates. You know, I didn't see any harm rooting for the Buccos,
Sure.
you know. But, you know, supposedly you have to be a complete hater. You know, anything.
I've even seen some concerts in Pittsburgh, and I felt dirty going to that stadium.
Anything at all Pittsburgh. If you're really,
Right.
really a true Cleveland Browns fan, you're supposed to hate everything and spit
That's
on
right.
it and call it Schittsburg and Spitzburg and
Yeah, right.
Pittspuke and anything else you want to call it. So, but I think in Youngstown we get a little bit of a pass for that, because we're like right on the line, and I think in Youngstown you have this like crossbreeding, cross-dressing. Only in, you know, I was at Niagara Falls one day and I saw a guy like wearing an Indians hat, an Ohio State shirt, and I think like a Steelers jacket. And I go up to the guy and I just go, "You're from Youngstown, aren't you?" And he goes, "Yeah, how do you know?" And I said, "Don't even ask."
Nope.
You know, you're a cross-dresser. And, you know, I mean, I know guys that are die-hard, lifelong Steelers fans, but they love the Tribe. They love the Cavs. Cavs hat, Tribe shirt, and a Steelers jacket.
Couldn't do it.
You know, you only find that in Youngstown. But, I mean, my heart is with the Browns. My heart is with the Indians. My heart is with the Cavs. You know, and I could just kind of use that Youngstown excuse there to hopefully buy me a little time. Hey, Randy, what's up? Good to see you tuning in here this afternoon. So that's what I kind of like. You know, I like that, you know, the sports thing. Although I'm a little concerned about sports, because I think this whole politics in sports right now is going to be a big problem. You know, I'm digging the Indians. You know, you know, the Tribe. It seems like it's like neutral. And I don't care if athletes, musicians, or anything have their political views, but I think on Sunday afternoon, the whole reason I watch sports is to put that aside.
For sure.
You know, it's like 4 hours of escapism. You know, you're beat over the head. You know, I mean,
It's every sport too, though.
Right,
So it's,
right.
I mean, everywhere. Even
now-
NASCAR, you'd never think would
Yeah.
go that direction.
You know, and now you're just getting beat over the head.
Yep.
And, you know, hey, let's face it, there's a split in this country, you know, and I get it. But now it's like, you know, some of these players are talking about the NBA boycotting the rest of the season. I mean, I heard somebody talking today, they might kill the goose that laid the golden egg, because some people are for that, some people are against it. I thought it took the NFL a while to get back on their feet after that whole first Colin Kaepernick thing,
Yep.
because then, you know, then it was all like, you know, then they started honoring the troops and flyovers and bringing in the National Guard with a giant flag and all that, because they did take a hit on that. And I think this year, if they get too political on this, there's a lot of people that you even see on Facebook and on social media, which you can't judge everything by, because there's a vocal I don't know. There's a
They seem louder, though,
there's a
for
vocal
sure.
crowd out there that, you know, screw this, F you, not on your life. But I see a lot of anti-NBA and a lot of anti-NFL rhetoric out there, and there's some people who are just through with it.
Yep.
And I think maybe they might have gone overboard on that. Do we have problems in this country that need to be addressed? Absolutely. There's no two ways about it. But, you know, are you killing what's bringing you to the table? I think if you're a guy like LeBron James or any of these other guys with the money and the clout that they have, they could get their message across, I think, in a lot of different ways. With social media, infomercials. Buy an infomercial, LeBron. You got enough money.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you buy 30 minutes of airtime and put it on like the Emerald thing and plead your case?
Yep.
You know, why can't you do that? Why do you have to drag it in and then separate everybody when, you know, you can still get your message out? There's ways you can get your message out without alienating people.
Yeah, I truly think that music is the only thing that could bring us together. I really do. I think it's the only thing that really has the power
All
to...
we are saying is give peace a chance.
There you go.
Know? And when you look back on all that stuff, you know, like in my younger days, you know, I was in that, and I still feel that way, you know, with the peace and love and all that kind of stuff, and the hippie stuff, and, you know, it was just a mindset, you know, come on people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, let's love one another right now. all that stuff. Yeah, the 70s, 80s Steelers rivalry is the best. My buddy Jim Davison checking in. Nothing will ever be like it. The hate between the two cities, Kosar, Bradshaw, Mack, Biner, Slaughter, Dixon, Minifield against the Steel Curtain.
Yes.
I mean, now those were the days.
Heck yeah.
And you know what made it a rivalry? Because it was even. They'd beat us, we'd beat them. They'd beat us in Cleveland, would go back to Three Rivers and you know,
Stomp
with
'em.
Metcalf and all that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And Bernie with a big win. And I mean, it was just so much more exciting. If you lose every single time you play the team and you become their bitch, it's no fun. It isn't a rivalry.
Yeah, on my birthday, 49-0. I mean, come on. How many of those can you survive before you not watch the game
It's
anymore?
a rivalry still between the fans.
Yes.
The fans are keeping the rivalry going.
Guys on the field
but, are not. Hey, and Jim, I got to tell you something. I was a little bit disappointed. The one day I did an interview with Bernie Kosar, and I'm talking to Bernie about that and everything, and the rivalry, and we're having this good conversation. Then he tells me he's friends with Franco Harris. And he tells me he's friends with Franco Harris, and they golf together, and they do this, and they do that. And I'm like, Bernie, what are you doing? You got hit in the head too many times, Bernie. You are doing what with Franco? I wanted to cry. I think I had a tear in my eye when that whole thing went down.
Oh, too much.
But yeah, back in the day, that's when the rivalry was really good, and the Browns were, you know, even though we had the fumble to drive, Red Right 88 and stuff, at least we were in the mix, you know. That's still my favorite Browns game of all times was the Browns Jets in the triple overtime game, and I went up there with a bus. I went up there with a busload of people from one of these bars on South Avenue. And the bus driver was even drinking. So I get up there, and it was like 0 out there, and everybody's packed in, and we had seats right in the end zone. We were right, in the dog pound side, and maybe 10, 15 rows, 20 rows back from the field. So the first set of downs, the Jets come out, they huddle up in the end zone. People just start pelting the field with everything. Dog bones, little milk bones and stuff. People are throwing snowballs out on the field. All you can see is just like a wave. You just see this wave of debris heading out on the field. I crank back. I throw a snowball. As soon as I throw it, I just feel my arm. My back. Next thing you know, I got both of my hands behind my back, and I get thrown out of the stadium.
Do you really?
At the very first play. Now it's almost, it was freezing cold out there. The wind's blowing off the lake. They open this big steel door and they shove me out. And this is the old stadium. And they slam this steel door shut. It sounds like a jail cell. Well, now I'm standing outside of the stadium and there wasn't one person out there. Next thing you know, here comes a whole chain gang of people in shackles and handcuffs, and they're being led out to the paddy wagon by a horse, a couple of cops on horses.
No way.
I don't know what they did. So now I go back to the bus, fortunately, and the bus driver, I'm drinking, and the bus driver's drinking. So, fortunately, at the end of the game, they opened the doors for people to come out. So I got back in, and fortunately, we had the overtime, and so I get in and I see the end and all that, and it was the most exciting win in Cleveland Browns history, I would say. And so then we go back on the bus, and everybody's busting my balls because I got thrown out. I just got caught up in the fan frenzy. Everybody was doing it.
Yeah.
It was just a madhouse. People were just hurling stuff out there. I thought, I got to do something. I got to throw something out there. Give me a snowball. Give me something. Boom, and I get booted out. So we're heading back home. The bus driver's kind of swerving a little bit, and they have Pete Franklin on the radio. Pete Franklin, of course, was the big sports guy in Cleveland back at the time, and he's like one of the really first, I don't want to say obnoxious, but outspoken sports kind of guys, and hanging up on people and argumentative and that sort of thing. And on the way home, they have Pete Franklin on because they're listening to it, and they're having the call-in game. And the first thing Pete gets on there, and he's going, What an embarrassing display of sportsmanship from stupid Cleveland fans in that damn dog pound. They should be ashamed of themselves, throwing stuff out onto the field like a bunch of morons and all this stuff. And he's going on this big rant. Everybody on the bus is just laughing and pointing at me. I'm going, all right, Pete, knock it off, man. But yeah, that was one of my favorite Browns games. But getting back to that, I'm just hoping that the politics and it doesn't go too far where they're going to shoot themselves in the foot,
We'll never return, and it won't be the game we know.
Yeah, it could well be, and I'm concerned about that. Like I say, there's so many avenues out there for these guys to get their message across without shooting themselves in the foot. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. What do I really know? So, maybe I'm wrong about that. Hey, here's something I saw in the Trib today. A story written by my buddy Andy Gray. Dave Grohl Alley, they're installing LED lights and this super sound system for the whole alley. So, when you go down there, they're going to have this light show going and this state-of-the-art sound system playing music. And I think that's going to be really cool. I can't wait to see that. It's amazing, because I was involved with that from the start, and to see how that thing has grown and it's actually become international.
Do people come from out of state to come visit?
People come from around the world
to
visit that. Oh, yeah. There was a TV crew there not too long ago from, I think, Belgium. And they were on a Northeast Ohio rock and roll tour. And they were going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and a couple of other places. And, they were filming this. I think they were going to go to Akron to see if they could find something from Chrissy Hine and the Pretenders or somebody. But they were there, and they did a story on it for this rock show in Belgium. And the whole thing, me and Joe O'Grady, we were sitting at the Powerhouse in Warren on bike night, and we're sitting there, and every bar has what I call a table of good ideas. You sit at this table long enough at the bar, and you get all these brilliant ideas just start flowing. And we used to have a table of good ideas over at the Ice House in Austintown. So after we'd get off the air, we'd go there and we would just have all these great ideas, and then the next day we would do them on the air, and the station managers calling, "What the hell are you doing?" Well, it seemed really funny at the table of good ideas yesterday.
With your Jägermeister.
right. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then some bars have the table of good ideas. They're back a little farther. That's probably when somebody smokes a joint or something out there. The farther away from the bar the table of good ideas is, the better the ideas start rolling. Yes. But anyways, me and Joe O'Grady, he was a sergeant with the Warren Police Department at the time. And we're sitting there, and he says, I want to do something, like a community pride thing. And so we start talking, and he says, man, maybe we got to do something to honor somebody, somebody from Warren. And then the ideas started flowing, famous people from Warren, like Daisy Duke. A lot of people don't know that Daisy Duke from the Dukes of Hazzard was born in Warren.
Did not know that.
And then, we were talking, of course, about all the great football players that came out of Warren. I think Warren has more NFL players than anybody when you start looking at the Springer brothers or Stringer brother. Corey Stringer. Jerry Springer. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah, keep going.
So I just keep going. And, Mario Manningham and just, Paul Warfield, Hall of Famer, and then we were thinking maybe something along those lines. And then, then we were thinking, well, maybe Christopher Columbus, because he, director, all those great movies. And we thought, well, maybe Christopher Columbus, that would be something. And, even Neil Armstrong lived in Champion for a while, I was like, maybe Neil Armstrong. Well, what about Jerry Douglas, the famous dobro player? He's from Warren. Maybe we could do something, for him. And then, it hit me that, one time I was on the air, and I had this woman talking about, she worked at a doctor's office, and one of the patients said, "Oh yeah, my nephew's in a band, and she, "Oh yeah, no kidding." And she brings in all these Nirvana albums. Well, Dave's mom and dad are both from the area, so it's Dave Grohl, of course. And then I said, what, we should do something with Dave Grohl. I said, a lot of people don't realize this, but he comes to town. I have it on authority that he comes to town a lot and stuff like that, and that he has relatives living here. So then it's like, why don't we, the alley in downtown Warren, and then, so the next thing we go talk to the mayor, and and then O'Grady, being a policeman, put his investigative skills. And next thing you know, he tracks down Dave's dad, his uncle. He finds out the house that he lives in Perkinswood. We went down and talked to city council. We had a little bit of a problem with city council. There's only, well, not really. We had one person that gave us a hard time, and that was Mandopoulos, who was the chief at the time. Little hard-boiled Greek guy with like a balding head. I mean, this guy could be the hard-nosed cop that didn't want to follow the rules on every police drama you've ever seen.
Okay, so
that was Mando.
Right?
And I think that's why he ended up finally losing his job as chief, because he just pushed everybody too far. Yeah. But he was against it. And then, some of the people were like, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? And a lot of these people had a chance to do other things, but they didn't. And so from there, O'Grady just took the ball and ran with it. He became friends with Dave's dad and his family. He got the Trumbull Art Guild involved, and they just turned this thing into this big art project. And then he put the world's biggest drumsticks are down there, And
all from the table of good ideas.
All from the table of good ideas at the Powerhouse in Warren, and that's where that whole thing goes. And now to see these guys adding this whole light show and stuff down there, I just think it's awesome. And it's just crazy to see how this thing has grown, where now, it was a place for artists to do all this Foo Fighters stuff and sculptures and paintings and everything else. And it just kind of revitalized that whole thing, where bums were sleeping and,
right.
heroin addicts shooting up or whatever else was going on in that. But, the whole thing with the alley, the idea with the alley too, is because you wanted something grunge related. You don't want to have, we could have a street named after him, or maybe
there's Gruel Stream.
Yeah. And it was just like, no, man, you want to go with grunge, and that's how the whole idea came about.
Let's take a field trip next week, and I've never been there. I don't even know where this place is.
Oh, you've never been there?
Never. Let's go check it out next week.
Are you kidding me?
No, never.
All right, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. Next week, we'll take a field trip to Dave Grohl Alley. There's a brewery there. We'll talk to the people at the brewery. My buddy Aaron Shine has a tattoo shop there. We'll talk to Aaron, and then we'll go out and do our man of the street question on Courthouse Square.
Is it close to Courthouse Square?
It's on Courthouse Square.
Is it really?
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
Sweet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we could definitely do something there. So let's plan on that. But no, people come from all over the place to see that. Dave has been there several occasions. The Foo Fighters have all been down there. And, people just like to come by and look at that. It's in like all kind of tour guides and things like that, that people want to stop down there and check that out. So, okay. Next week, that's our plan. That's our field trip.
Okay.
We'll go to Dave Grohl Alley. We'll talk to Aaron Shine. We'll go to the brewery, see what they got as far as the microbrews are going. And then we'll go out and do our man on the street and get the question of the day for some of the fine folks hanging around on Courthouse Square in downtown Warren at about 11 o'clock in the morning. Okay.
Yes.
All right, now we got the show prep all done. This is pretty good. We get the show prep going while we're just sitting here shooting the breeze while we're doing the show.
Right.
Now that's what you call efficiency.
It is too.
Doing the show and doing show prep.
Because most places would have a meeting and then do the show. We just get both in one shot.
Right. Except there's not enough alcohol flowing here to make it a table of good ideas. The good ideas usually don't start rolling until about
we're working up to it,
4 or 5 in. Then that's when you start, lubricating the gears there. But a few things going on in rock history today. Today is the anniversary of the release of Frank Zappa's Apostrophe album, and that's probably one of his most well known. And it's probably one of his most well known. And I'm going to run down some of the songs on there. I know most of them on the top of my head, but I just want to make sure that I have them all, or a good idea of what they are. Montana's on there. I'm going to Montana soon. And Carmelo Brillo and the slime that comes out of my TV set. And I think it's one of his best. It's probably his most accessible. Dirty Love, Dynamo Hum, Montana, Zombie Wolf, The Slime, those are all great Frank Zappa songs that I think everybody knows about. But a couple of the songs, they had Carmelo Brillo, I Am the Slime, Dirty Love, Zombie Wolf, Dynamo Hum, Montana, all great songs. And on a couple of those tracks, they had the Ike Turnerettes sing on there, including Tina Turner. And, Ike, you know how Ike was,
Right.
I think Ike only wanted the ladies to get paid $25 each for singing on this record, including Tina, for some reason. That was like one of his demands. My ladies are only going to get $25, and then he probably went and smacked them around or something a little bit. But could you imagine what it was like when Ike Turner, heard these Frank Zappa cuts for the first time, because here you got this soul guy, strong pimp hands, smacking the bitches around and all that kind of stuff, and then the next thing you know, here's this avant-garde, esoteric, way out there, music, and he just didn't get it. As a matter of fact, this quote is, "What was this shit?"
Eloquently put.
And it probably went on to be one of Frank's biggest albums. I think the most commercially accessible for a lot of people to really get into Frank Zappa, and that's celebrating its birthday today. Oh, you know what? Here's another story. I jumped into the rock news a little too quick because I still had a couple more stories here. How about the big fire out in California? 7,000 acres ablaze right now. 7,000 acres ablaze in California. The Santa Ana winds are fanning it, making it even bigger. Here's how this whole thing went down. Are you ready for this?
A national forest, more than 200 people airlifted to safety, and now fire crews have determined the cause of the El Dorado fire, which has burned more than 7,000 acres. Christina Coleman has the very latest this morning from Los Angeles. Christina?
Well, Blake, it was a scary holiday weekend for campers at a popular camping site in Northern California. They were there when this raging wildfire trapped them. The California National Guard had to step in to help, airlifting 207 people to safety. Black Hawk and Chinook helicopters were used to rescue the campers late Saturday and into Sunday morning from the Creek Fire. At least 20 people were hospitalized. A few were critically injured. Some apparently were burned. Others had broken bones. Crews were grateful to get them to safety.
All of the individuals that they rescued were greeting the crew members with hugs as they were boarding onto the helicopter, and then again after getting off the helicopter, a lot of high fives.
The Creek Fire started Friday and has burned more than 45,000 acres since then. It's 0% contained. The fire jumped a river and cut off the only road into the Mammoth Pool campground in the Sierra National Forest where those campers were trapped. However, other campers drove out of the flames like these two. They made their way through this apocalyptic scene as the fire threatened a marina and cabins near Shaver Lake, threatening thousands of other structures and burned some homes and businesses. It's unclear what caused this fire, but we do know what caused the El Dorado fire that's burned more than 7,000 acres since yesterday in San Bernardino County. It was caused by a pyrotechnic device during a gender reveal party. This is one of 23 major wildfires burning in California right now. The governor declared a state of emergency to help get these fires under control. This weekend's record-breaking heat here in California also drove up electricity use, putting a strain on the grid. State officials declared an emergency last night and said power outages were imminent yesterday evening after a transmission line at a power plant went offline unexpectedly. Hundreds had power outages last night, and people here are also being asked to conserve energy again tonight because of this intense heat and an effort to avoid rolling blackouts.
Now that is absolutely crazy. Now, would you drive Gus the bus through the flames?
Sure, why not? Gus is pretty hardcore. He could make it.
All right, so your RV, you would have went through the flames.
No doubt.
Okay.
Incidentally, they named the kid Damien. I was thinking that the whole time. I thought,
yeah, a firework at a gender reveal party. So it was a boy. They shoot a blue missile up in the air and it burns down half of California.
7,000 acres.
That's something that kid will have to remember his whole life, man. That's one when 100 years from now at family reunions, they'll still be talking about that one.
Yeah.
That's another classic.
Hopefully no one lost their life on that because that's devastating.
You know what else I saw floating around, that reminded me of Labor Day? Somebody posted a ad from Lawson's. Do you remember Lawson's?
I do.
Okay, they were competing with Isley's there for a while. For a while there was, Lawson's and Isley's, although Lawson's didn't really have the soda fountains or the lunch table or the lunch counter or whatever. But somebody posted Lawson's Labor Day specials from 1971. Hot dogs, 49 cents. I can remember this was our 4th of July picnic where we probably spent $5 on the whole thing and we thought we were living large. Hot dogs for 49 cents, buns for 29 cents, chips for 59 cents, the world famous Lawson's onion dip, right? Is that the one everybody loved? I didn't like it. I'm not a big, but the Lawson's French onion dip that everybody loved was 29 cents. And then you got the big half-gallon of fruit drink for 29 cents. Boy,
Diabetes.
Yeah, and a gallon and a half-gallon of ice cream for 69 cents. Now, for us, that was our whole Labor Day right there.
There you go.
Or you know what, though? If we really got a treat on Labor Day, remember Hill's department stores. Hill's always used to have fireworks on 4th of July and Labor Day. And you could go there and you can get a 10-cent hot dog and I think
bag of popcorn like this big.
Right, for like a nickel and 5-cent Cokes. And boy, when we went there, we thought that was a big treat. Sometimes now I see these people take their kids out to, what I thought was like a fancy restaurant or an expensive restaurant or a little more pricey than McDonald's. But for us, that was our big Labor Day,
Yeah, Hills and Farmore. You go shop and get the candy on the Farmore.
Right. And we would go to like Lawson's, and we used to go to Lawson's there on South Avenue, and it was just like that was our whole day, So probably the one day we had hot dogs on our little cookout, our $5 cookout. Boy, we thought, can't we get real Coke? Can't we get bottles of Coke in the bottle? No, you're going to get the 29-cent jug of fruit punch, and you're going to like it,
Oh,
and that was
so
the
good.
cookout. And then, then the next day on Monday, you would go to Hills and watch the fireworks and get that other treat there for the 10-cent hot dog and a $5 bag of popcorn. But the whole thing about Lawson's, whenever I think back about Lawson's, I think everybody that was born at this time, along with this Ohio weather alert, remember? Fill up tonight with Ohio with ice guard protection. And they had that little jingle. But this here has to be one of the most famous commercials in the history of Northeast Ohio. And you'd probably know what it is. Every time I think of Lawson's, this thing just starts playing in my head like an earworm. So let's hit this one.
Truck Express they call the
Sing
Big O.
along if you know
She
it.
hauls Lawson's fresh squeezed orange juice non-stop from Florida. Roll on, Big O. Get that juice up to Lawson's in 40 hours. Now the oranges ripen in the Florida sun. Sweet on the tree they stay. Then they pick them and they squeeze just as quick as you please. And the Big O leaves the same day. Roll on, Big O. Get that juice up to Lawson's in 40 hours. Now one man sleeps while the other man drives on the non-stop Lawson run. And the cold juice in the tank truck caboose stays as fresh as the Florida sun. Roll on, Big O. Get that juice up to Lawson's in 40 hours. Get that juice up to Lawson's. This is the story of
The Big O. That has to be one of the greatest advertising jingles of all times. If you were growing up in Northeast Ohio at that time, everybody knows the Big O. You could probably sing it. The cold juice in the tank truck caboose. But it takes 40 hours. One man sleeps while the other man drives, and it still took you 40 hours.
That's a lot of work.
What the hell? I made it back from Florida in 15 hours with one man driving. And whenever that commercial would come on, my dad would always sing, "One man drinks while the other man drives."
Yep.
That was the big thing.
Okay, that's
But
more
roll
understandable.
on, Big O. Get that juice up the Lawson's in 40 hours. Why does it take 40 hours? Maybe to load the truck and unload it. Maybe they're taking that into consideration because, you got two guys driving, on that. Also, okay, let's go back to rock history. I just wanted to get the Big O out of the way. The Big O.
Reminiscing about the Big O.
Oh yeah, Lawson's and Isley's though. Those used to be the two big things, and we had both of them on South Avenue, so we'd go to either one. Chip Chop Ham at Lawson or at Isley's. Other lunch meat maybe we'd get at at Lawson's, depending. My dad liked Dutch loaf. I used to hate Dutch loaf. I don't
We used to
even
eat it
know.
all the time. I've never had it since I was a kid.
I don't know if anybody even eats Dutch loaf anymore. My old man had to get Dutch loaf from Lawson's, and we would get the chip chop ham from Isley's, and we would cook it in the barbecue sauce. This was like the precursor of pulled pork sandwiches way back in the day. We had that, and then get some Klondike bars and.
Now, everybody had a convenience store in their neighborhood that would sell them cigarettes when they were like 16 or 15. Did you have one in your neighborhood?
Oh, yeah. They used to be on every corner. There used to be, in my area, we used to have a bunch of little stores like that, which is kind of amazing when you think about it, because we had one on Alexander Street, Ernie, and of course back in the day they called him Ernie the Jew, because he was, and nobody really had a problem with that. Ernie would tell you he was a Jew, and his son Jerry, and they had a little one there on Alexander Street, and then there was the Powersdale Market, and then you went up a little farther, and then there was like these stores were like 4 or 5 blocks away. Then there was Castor's, and then there was there was probably about 3 of them within a 2-block area over in Lansingville on Indianola. You had City Provision, and then it was like those little corner stores were everywhere where they would sell candy and pop, and they might have had a old roll of bologna in there that had been sitting in this case for a while, but they'd still slice you up a couple of pieces, and an old onion and maybe a potato with a root growing out of it, and a wood floor. And you would go to these places, and especially we would go up to Pemberton Pool, Shady Run, and there was like about 6 of those stores you would stop at along the way, and maybe get a piece of candy, some penny candy, you had a nickel. But it was amazing, especially on the south side, just that Lansingville area, how many of those little corner neighborhood stores there were. And then as it went on, those were the places that would sell booze to underage kids.
Yeah, because they get to know you since you were little,
Yeah, and you used to be able to take, if your parents smoked, which just about everybody's parents smoked back in the day, you could take a note that says, give Freddie a pack of Pall Mall regulars, and then they would, okay.
But you'd know what the kid was smoking versus what was for the adults, because nobody would have been smoking Camel, no filters, right?
Yeah, nobody's smoking it. Give me a pack of Luckies. Okay. Give me a pack of Luckies. Yeah, they're for my dad. Yeah, I guarantee they are. Now, the little pint bottle of Boone's Farm, that's for him, too. Yeah, right. Okay, now you're pushing it, kid. Don't get too far out there. But yeah, every block, it seemed like, from Poland Avenue almost all the way up to Midlothian, there was a little store. And especially in Lansingville, man, I could just think of, it was like every couple of blocks. So obviously they probably were just making nickels and dimes anyway, selling you a can of pop or a couple of candy bars, pack of smokes or whatever.
I don't know, bread was like $5 out of those things, so they were nailing you on something.
Oh, yeah. And they would always get the bread at the day-old store, at the thrift store, and then they're selling it back to you.
Big markup, man.
Oh, right.
That's how they're getting away with the penny candy.
Yeah, Karen Walsh says the candy store, Ernie's Penny Candy. I'll tell you where they also had like a great penny candy store when I was growing up. It was Mike Evans' Amico station on the corner of Poland Avenue and Powersdale, right outside the mill gate. And they had the best case of penny candy anywhere. And it was an old-fashioned gas station, still had a grease pit, gravel driveway, had the thing that would ring the bell and come out, and the guy would check your oil and everything. And, since it was an Amico, they used to do the hot Amico Day at Idora Park where you saved up all the tickets when you buy gas, and you would get ride tickets or whatever.
Sweet.
But they had the best case of penny candy anywhere. I mean, those coconut watermelons and coconut bacon strips and, just you name all the classics, the little UFOs with the things inside and anything you can think of, Turkish taffy, licorice, the red hot scents. Those were 2 for a penny, the ones you'd chew and they were red and they'd stick in your fireballs, all that stuff, man. Boy, you would go in there with, $5 or $5. Listen to me. A nickel, a dime. Boy, I tell you what, you would leave there with a bag of candy for a dime. Now, if you had extra money, if you somehow found a quarter laying on the street or something, then you would buy a 5-cent Hershey bar or a 5-cent Snicker bar or whatever. Then you were living large, but.
We had Lamacuzas in Girard, and before school I'd go over there and buy a bunch, and I'd get on the bus and sell it to everybody. I was making like a ton of money off of Lamacuzas.
Oh, yeah.
Now and laters were the thing.
Vinny Stiles says Candyland that used to be on Glenwood. Yeah, that used to be the big thing, man. I'll tell you, for a nickel, you would go down there and just get this big bag of candy, and it was in this like greasy gas station. I can still remember the way it smelled. You know, you could smell the grease, and you know,
it just had pack crammed in there.
Yeah,
I mean,
and they had a coal stove in there too, like a potbelly cold stove to keep it warm, and you know, some greasy guy working out in the grease pit and coveralls and a rag hanging out of his back pocket.
Just changed an alternator and then selling you penny candy.
Oh,
2 seconds
Well,
later.
the old lady was in there. And I remember one time Mike Evans' gas station got robbed, and they chased the robber up our street right past our house. I think they beat him up, too.
That's what, yes, old school. The whole neighborhood would come
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was just, I could remember seeing that. And my mom wanted me to go in the house. Don't look, because she didn't know if something bad was going to happen. We're go in the house. You don't want to see this. I'm like, yes, I do. And, oh, yeah, I can remember when they got robbed and stuff. But, yeah, you don't see that stuff anymore. Now
Simpsons don't, you know, they didn't put up with it. Now they tolerate it.
Yeah, and now you just have a Dollar General on every corner. You know?
Yep.
It's amazing how those things are just popping up everywhere. Dollar Generals all over the place. Hey, also, let's move on. A little more rock news here, rock history. On this date in 2003, it's hard to believe that this was, you know what? It's hard for me to believe that 2003 was 17 years ago. 17 years ago. How could 2003 be almost 20 years ago? I can't even wrap my head around that. It's crazy. But on this day, we lost Warren Zevon. And Warren Zevon was always one of my favorites, man. I mean, as a songwriter, he was fantastic. He was off the wall. And this is a guy that I'm surprised that they never even mentioned for induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I get appalled when people like Janet Jackson and these other people are in, and you got a truly creative rock guy, one of a kind, own personal style, and this guy isn't even mentioned. I haven't even seen him on a ballot. Maybe I missed it. Maybe I was disgusted at some point in time. But I mean, it's like, why aren't you talking about Warren Zevon, you know, Excitable Boy and all those great songs that he had, and then when he was dying of cancer, he wrote another great album. You know, he got that one, My Shit's Fucked Up, on there. And he's got Remember Me, the song about Remember Me. And he's had all these great songs, and he's performed with all these great musicians. And other people had recorded his music. And it's like, this guy isn't even mentioned. And I think that's a crime. And he also wrote a song about Boom Boom Mancini, you know. And I can remember when that song first come out, you know. And when I interviewed Ray a while back, you know, of course you had to ask him about, you know, did you ever meet Warren Zevon and that kind of stuff. And here's how that whole little conversation went down.
Warren Zevon?
Oh, Warren, yes, I did. I got the chance to meet Warren and hang out with him a little bit. He was a wonderful, wonderful man. And actually, in that book he wrote, his biography, you know, he talks, it was like he kept like a journal. So he talks about the day we met, and I'm very flattered that he even included me in there. So, I mean, I've been so blessed in my life to meet people like Warren, Bob, and Sammy, and people like that. People who are my heroes.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
And become friends with them. And
so, how about that Boom Boom Mancini song? Where were you when the first time you heard that song or you heard about it?
I'll tell you the truth. Here, I'm going to tell you a trivia answer. I bet you nobody will know.
Okay.
Who's the band playing behind it? Who's the band playing on that song? And I'm going to tell you in a minute after I tell you how I met Warren. I get a call from a guy from, I think it was Island Records. Chris Mancini. Henry Mancini's son is running, I think it was Island Records, which Warren was on their label. And he said, hey, they got in touch with me through my agent. He said, we want to know that Warren Zevon wrote a song on you. I said, man, he said, do you know Warren Zevon? I said, Warren's, oh man, Lord lies the money and Lord lies the money and where was it, London? And oh man, I love Warren Zevon. He said, yeah, he was alternative before there was such a term.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so he said, well, he wrote the song about you because he's a big boxer and a big fan of yours. So I was full flattered. So I didn't get to know him. And the song I'd written it. The album was coming out.
Yeah.
He went to the studio to do a video for another song on there called Leave My Monkey Alone.
Mm-hmm.
And he was doing the video for it. So I went to meet him. And he did it with the guy who from the head of Parliament, Funkadelics, George Clinton. George Clinton was on the album with him, did the song with him. So I met both of those guys. Funny. I met Paula Abdul. She was the choreographer for that video.
Jeez.
So it's kind of the whole thing.
Right.
And that's where I met him, and we sat and we talked. I hung out with him for the afternoon, watching him while they shot the video. So that's how, and I got to know him and talked to him frequently before he died. Unfortunately, it was just a lovely man. Now, to give you the answer, who was the band that played?
Yeah.
REM.
REM plays on
the
that.
band.
Get the heck out of here,
that's
man.
REM that's playing. That's the group that played that song.
There we go. What a cool song, too. But Warren Zevon, we lost him 17 years ago. I can't even fathom that. You know, it's really crazy that we lost Warren that long ago. And here's another interesting thing. On this date in history, this had to be probably one of the biggest con jobs in America. This had to be one of the biggest con jobs in America. On this date, Evel Knievel tried to jump the Snake River Canyon. Now let's roll this one here. This was on this date a long time ago, probably longer than I want to remember. But this is the anniversary of Evel Knievel jumping the Snake River Canyon.
Got to interrupt you there. It looks as though Evel Knievel is making an early arrival. You know, David, as Evel gets down, he has one problem. That's the wind factor today. Here he comes now. Here he comes now, carrying the famous Evel Knievel cane. Evel at the moment is dressed in his ordinary clothes at the moment. Here's Evel now coming out of his trailer. He is on his way up, I believe.
Everywhere in this world I go, no matter who or what I know, the people, they look, and most of them stare, and I wonder if they really care. You see this king with his golden crown? Some of them smile, but most of them frown. Each time I was hurt, they all said, that guy is lucky that he's not dead. And they were right. But I wanted to get up and try it again. I kept telling myself that I knew I could win. So I'd close my eyes, and to the Lord I would pray. Oh, help me, God. Let me walk someday. And he did. Every stitch on every scar that just brought me closer to my dream afar. To be a man and to do my best. To stand alone is my only quest. Success is a term that has broad use. For you and I to have none in life, there's no excuse. For you to do what I do is not right. But for me, it's not wrong. What I've been trying to tell you all along is that it's got to be. So, if you wonder why, the answer to that is, just like you, I've got to be me.
Last 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. You released prematurely.
A premature release by Evel Knievel. That's never a good thing when they use the term a premature release. So they put him in that little cage. They lift him up to this rocket on this huge ramp. The rocket goes taking off. It gets halfway in the air. The chute opens, and he just gracefully falls down and didn't even come close to going across the Snake River Canyon. I think that was one of the biggest con jobs in the history of entertainment. You know, I just think that it was all planned. I think they knew exactly that's what they were going to do. You know, you don't see that kind of stuff anymore, where, you know, these daredevils and things like that. Remember all the hype that would build up to that, and all them wrecks that Evel had, like when he the fountains at the MGM Grand, and you would be so pumped up for this stuff, and Wide World of Sports and everything. It would be a big event when people would walk across like a canyon or walk across Niagara Falls on a tightrope and stop and do a handstand in the middle and stuff. That used to be big. Nowadays, nobody even gives a shit about that.
Yeah, and then the magicians started doing it, and they did the big production. Like, what didn't somebody make an elephant disappear, a building disappear?
Right,
It's
the
like
Statue of Liberty,
yeah.
things like that.
Right.
But you just don't see that stuff anymore. Whatever happened to the Daredevils? And then when we were growing up, once Evel Knievel was big, you know, everybody would build a ramp and try to jump over something on a bicycle.
You're right.
You know what? It
Got
was
a piece of plywood and a
big
brick
thing.
I'm Evel Knievel.
Oh, yeah. You know, people would just try to jump over everything. And you don't see that stuff anymore. I mean, I thought that was really fun. Where are the Daredevils anymore?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Did shows like Jackass and that just take away from all of it, or I don't know. But
Well, I wonder, like, even David Blaine, when he sets himself up for those really hard feats, it's not really magic, but it's, like, really odd what he does to himself. Like, in a block of ice for 4 days.
Yeah.
So, but they used to make a super big deal about it. Even Geraldo, when they did remember the safe?
Dillinger's safe.
Yeah, right.
Right. And they broke into that cellar and everything, and there was nothing in there. You didn't see anything. It was like Evel Knievel jumping over the Snake River Canyon.
Yeah.
But Evel, man, back in the day, he was like the man. I mean, they had a whole line of Evel Knievel toys, crazy stuff, you know, make these little motorcycles jump over things, which really didn't, you know, but you'd see Evel jump over something and you'd do it and, you know.
Right.
But
well, we all rode motorcycles as kids. So, I mean, when you saw Evel jumping buses and that was amazing.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And I don't know. I kind of miss that. Comedian Brian Reagan has a pretty funny one about Evel. This is one of my favorite bits when you talk about Evel Knievel. This one always pops into my mind.
You know, I used to enjoy watching Evel Knievel, and I feel bad for him now. He's a little older. He doesn't jump. But he always does these talk shows, and every time he does one, they want to show him that footage where he fell off the motorcycle and bounced around like 83 times. That's what they show him. Hey, do you remember that day, Evel? Oh, no, I don't know. And they always ask him what he was thinking right before he hit the ground. What kind of question is that? What were you thinking right before you hit the ground, Evel? What were you thinking? I remember thinking, hey, did I turn off the iron? Then my leg cracked in half. Then I was thinking, hey, maybe I should get a puppy. What do you think I was thinking? I was thinking, something like that, if I remember right. Let me go back. Yeah. I believe those are my thoughts. I hope I've crystallized them for you.
Comedian Brian Regan, funny guy. Yeah, you know what? I wonder how much some of those Evel Knievel toys are worth. I think they're having some people come into Youngstown to buy some toys. Yeah, the FX Vintage Toy Roadshow wants your toys, and that's coming. It's going to be at the Holiday Inn in Boardman. We should probably get somebody on from that. You know, you wonder though, what kind of toys are really collectible?
Do you have any of these suckers?
You know what? I never really had the Evel Knievel toys. I might have had the action figure. Yeah, I probably had a motorcycle. Some of those are going for what, 20
$20? There's
Look
one
at that one though.
150.
I thought the stunt cycle display stand trail bike would have been a little more than $13. You know what? Some of the Evel stuff ain't really worth it. Okay, you got a little motorcycle there. There's one for $13. The original vintage stunt cycle action figure from 70s Toy Works is worth $66. I don't know. You know, I think toys are like records too. They got to be in such perfect condition for them to be worth anything. And if they're in the box, they're worth even more. But yeah, there's a ton of. There's the Sky Cannon, the Sky Cannon one that he jumped Snake River. And if you got that toy, it's worth. They're at least asking for $107 for that.
Oh, look at
one.
that! The $375 for the stunt cycle and the ramp.
Oh yeah, okay. Now I think I had one of those back in the day. But you know what? I think when Evel was doing these jumps, I was just a little bit older. I think I was in high school at that time. I might have still been in grade school. I don't know. I can't remember. Like I say, it's hard to believe on how time is flying by.
But have you ever gone to those vintage toy shows?
Oh, yeah, I love them. I see so much stuff in there that I used to own and I want them, or that I always wanted and I could never get, you know. I'd say my toys were always like Army men, yeah, you know, board games, Candyland that I could remember. I don't really, guns, Army helmets. I don't really remember me having any kind of, cap guns and things like that. I can't really remember the really badass toy that I had. Maybe an electric train. Love electric trains, but I didn't have all the crazy stuff and the cool banana bikes. Whatever they used to have. Now that machine gun right there, that I think I had one of those by Marks. That Marks machine gun, I definitely had one of those. Now that I think of it, I had a lot of guns when I was a kid, and Tonka trucks, a lot of Tonka trucks. Those used to be good, and I can remember having Gumby and Pokey and some things like that. Creepy crawler machine, the thing maker from Mattel, where you would have like a little hot plate. And you would melt plastic in there, and
melt plastic.
Real toys that we learned how to navigate. So, I had that exact cement truck right there, that Tonka cement truck, and boy, that's in pretty bad shape. It's going for $15, so I guess.
Jarts.
Oh, lawn
the killer
darts.
long jarts.
Okay, who's going to pay $249 for an original set of jarts? I don't know about that. But see, that's another one of those toys that we played with that nobody batted an eye.
We did some stupid stuff and none of us died. Like we used to shoot bows and arrows up in the air and avoid them when they came down.
Right. I mean, we were tough. We were smart. We knew we could watch cartoons and see people get shot and things like that. And it didn't. We never decided to go and shoot up a school or anything like that. But that's some crazy stuff. All right, let's another rock story here. Boy, this one here is hard to believe. I mean, when you look back at it, I don't think maybe I'm going to give the dates anymore as to how long ago some of this stuff was. 1978, 42 years ago this week. 42 years ago. Keith Moon from The Who died of a drug overdose. He was taking medication to keep him from being an alcoholic, and he OD'd on that, and that's what's got him. But Keith Moon was probably one of the craziest rock stars. Here's another thing you don't see anymore. Where are the rock stars like John Bonham? Where are the rock stars like Keith Moon, where these guys were just like balls out crazy? They would drink, they would party, they would take pills, they would do cocaine, they would tear up hotels. That's what Keith Moon was noted for. He would go in and just totally destroy hotels. I mean, he would do these things where he would flush sticks of dynamite and M80s and cherry bombs down the toilets, and somebody might be taking a dump 3 stories down, and boom, blow their ass right off the crapper.
Do you think that stuff was all set up? Do you think it was like for publicity? Do you think they did half that shit, or they think they're just
these guys were just balls out crazy, and they just took it to the extreme. They were living this lifestyle where we could smash this whole hotel room, do $20,000 worth of damage, and just walk away. But now The Who, in the early days, with all Keith Moon's damages, they were losing money. Because then the band would smash up their instruments, and, he would kick over his drum set at the end and everything. And at the beginning, The Who was losing a lot of money, and especially because of Keith Moon. And then, of course, he was involved in another incident where he ran over and killed his bodyguard / chauffeur. They were at this party, or they were at this bar somewhere, and things started getting rowdy, and the crowd started beating on their car or something. And Moon the Loon tried to drive away, and he accidentally ran over his bodyguard and killed him.
Wow.
And I mean, there were so many stories about him. And of course, when they were on the Smothers Brothers show, this is another famous Who story. They were going to explode the drum set at the end when he was kicking it down. Well, they put some explosives in the drum set. And Keith Moon thought that they needed probably like 3 times more than they put in there. Right.
Yeah.
And that damaged Pete Townshend's hearing because the explosion was just so loud and right in his ear, and that really messed up his hearing. But yeah, his 21st birthday was one of the first ones that really put him on the map. His 21st birthday was in Flint, Michigan. And he was just drinking all day, and then they went back to the hotel, and they had a food fight, and he got his teeth busted out, and the cops showed up, and from there on, when they banned him from the Holiday Inns, it was like, okay. And then he took Joe Walsh under his wing for a while, smashing up hotel rooms, and then Joe took it to the next level with like chainsaws and stuff like that. And Crazy
crazy.
days. Man, them guys used to just be balls out, But that was like rock and roll, yeah,
Right.
And nobody batted an eye when these guys would do this kind of stuff.
We need new heroes.
Yeah, we do. We need heroes like Evel Knievel
Yep.
again.
Yep.
We need a Keith Moon. We need a John Bonham. We need a Joe Walsh in his drunken prime and a John Belushi.
Right.
Come on, somebody's got to step up and
Step
sacrifice
up.
themselves. Or do we just get smarter? Is that what it is, though? I mean, do some people just look at it? But then you look at all the 90s rock stars, the grunge guys and stuff that either died of overdoses or suicide and things like that. Maybe that's why they needed to get into this and let some steam off,
Maybe. And with social media ruined everything. Now we got like sophisticated snarkiness, and that's part.
Right. You couldn't do that, and some of this crazy stuff. I mean, if they were doing it, there'd be 100 people filming it and everything.
Yeah.
I think that social media really has put a damper on a lot of debauchery. Because even like wet t-shirt contests, they're not like they used to be. Bikini contests aren't like they used to be, because some people want to get in the fun and do something spontaneous and crazy, but they don't want everybody to see it the
On
next
national
day.
news, yeah.
Right, the next day, maybe you're a school teacher. Well, remember when Catherine Bosley got in that whole thing down in Key West and everything. Now, you look at that and go, what was the big freaking deal?
Right.
Who cares? Who cares?
Yep.
Who cares? And it's just you don't see that kind of behavior that much anymore. I think some of these guys, man, they get involved in heroin and stuff where these guys are doing booze and cocaine. That's what you need is the heroin's just going to numb you out and you're just going to be sitting there comfortably numb where, you start doing, speed and then you do, a bunch of cocaine and then that increases your ability to drink more and then you drink more and you're up for 2-3 days straight and you got all this money coming in. You got more money than you know what to do with.
So you buy more cocaine.
Right. A lot of rock bands back in the 70s, man, they went through fortunes. Aerosmith, Fleetwood Mac on cocaine. I mean, some of them guys put so much money up their noses back then that it was just, it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous, man. I mean, these guys were just balls out crazy.
Yeah, and I know there's a bunch of people that died from hard problems with cocaine and stuff like that, but I think the drugs today are more lethal, and you can't like spend a decade doing it. You're dead.
Right. And and I think nowadays too with like cocaine, back in the day when cocaine was big, even in the 80s, I think now you don't know what you would be getting. A lot of people I hear, now that they lace the cocaine with fentanyl to make it more addictive and things like that. I don't think it's like, you could, hey, somebody goes and does a line in a bathroom at a bar on a Saturday night. I don't think you could do that. I think it's a huge risk. But, say what you want, but alcohol and cocaine really fueled rock and roll in the 70s.
I agree.
It really did, And I think that's kind of what's missing, honestly, to tell you the truth. No, because, everybody pumped up, fired up, liquored up, coked up. Yay!
Freddie's after school special. We need more cocaine and alcohol.
That's why music is lacking. That's why we're stuck what we have here today. They want to do heroin. They're all
ruining
depressed.
your lives with those other drugs.
Yeah,
Come
right.
back to cocaine.
Yeah, get back into LSD. That's another one,
Yeah, those are like mind-altering in a good way.
Right. Let's get back to that kind of stuff. But no, that whole blow and booze, man, that just had everything fueled and everybody pumped up and fired up. But then that also led to the demise of a lot of bands because the ego's blowing up and they're on edge and they're wired and you say something to me and we're gonna have a fist fight. I mean, Aerosmith's a prime example of that. Fleetwood Mac, another band that just like craziness. Where's the Ozzy Osbourne of today? Where's the Keith Richards of today, But see, you look at Keith Richards, and from what I understand, though, I mean, the stuff that he was getting was all like pure primo stuff, I mean, it wasn't like some street drugs cut down with who knows what and stuff like that. From what I understand, Oh, that yeah, my buddy Joe, Mr. Asshole. Good to hear from you today, Joe. That's lovingly, by the way.
It's a term of endearment.
Joe said it would kill the COVID, and he should know. I don't think, after all Joe's life, I don't think Joe's even worried about it.
No?
I think he's built up an immunity.
Yeah?
I haven't seen Joe for a while.
Check this box. Do you do cocaine? Yes. Did you get COVID? No.
Yeah.
Solved it.
Do you see Keith Richards with COVID? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't see it happening. But yeah, that's the thing, man. I mean, I think that's really taken away. You know, I mean, say what you want. I mean, well, look at the Beatles too. I mean, you know, they acid and tripping and stuff like that, and it expanded their minds, and they got, you know, better ideas and things like that come from it. So
now, do you think lyrics and music are more angry than they were in the 80s?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And probably a lot more dirty too. I mean, you know, when you listen to like the rap music, I mean, you know, yeah, you know, I think it's just more. You know, that's like one of my problems with grunge music. And I think this is one of the reasons that country music stepped up. Because I think grunge, you know, it seems like it's a little darker. And a lot of that 90s stuff, I like it, don't get me wrong. But I like it in doses. But, well, no pun intended. You know? No pun intended. But, you know, it seemed to me like it's darker, and it just doesn't. It just came from a dark place. A lot of these guys were tortured.
Sorting through their emotions.
Yes, you know, they were sorting through their emotions. I mean, I think it's some heavy stuff, and I like it. But when you see what happened to a lot of these guys and what was going on in their mind, you know, now country, I mean, you listen to country music and say what you want about it, but it's always something good. They're singing about margaritas. They're singing about my girlfriend. We're going to drink beer on Saturday night. We're going out in our truck. We're camping out, blah, blah, blah. And it makes you feel good, where I think some of the 90s grunge just makes you sit there and go,
bummed out.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, Kurt Cobain. Do I like, you know, Smells Like Teen Spirit and In Bloom and all that stuff? Yeah, I like it, but I like it spread out.
Yeah.
You know, because it's, you know, they're dark subjects, and these guys are coming from a dark place. You know, they're suicidal, they're on heroin. You know, their friends were dying, and it's like that whole thing just doesn't resonate with more people. Want to, you know, I think a song that you can't go wrong with. For a good example is Zac Brown, Chicken Fried. Like my chicken fried, cold beer on a Friday night, you know, pair of jeans that fit just right, and the radio up.
Yep.
See, you know, a lot of people have been commenting on my great singing ability since my Taylor Kia commercial. You know, I think, you know.
You've been practicing.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, wow, I didn't know he could sing that good. It's amazing on how many people, you know,
been around music a long time, man. You can take some notes.
Commented on my singing abilities,
Yeah.
but. You know, it's that kind of stuff, you know. And people sitting around a bonfire drinking beer Saturday night. We got the ATVs out and stuff, you know. And I think that is a big turning point there. You know, I think for the rebellious, dangerous side of music, I think rap music took that over, you know, because it's more dangerous. It's, you know, it's stuff that pisses the parents off. That's always been a quality of music for young people, and you know.
Yeah, and you expect that era, like that Rage Against the Machine, Hate the Authority, that kind of stuff. You can have an appreciation for that, but it seems like everybody's so pissed off in every genre right now.
Right.
You know, the anti-war movement, that was another one. I mean, it had good reason to be pissed off about something.
Yeah,
but
I mean, sometimes you go through a whole, you know, I mean, if you're listening to like some of those 90s, you might go through a whole stream where it's Nirvana, In Bloom, or something like that, and then maybe something from Alice in Chains, Down in a Hole, and then, you know, maybe, you know, Black Hole Sun, and then another song like that. And sometimes you go through a string of songs like that, and you're just like, okay, you know, I want my chicken fried, I want my cold beer on a Saturday night, jeans that fit just right.
Well, here's your cocaine and alcohol version of that. So you do like a Nirvana, and then you put like a Pantera on the other side of it, so it balances it out. Back and forth, White Zombie,
right. Yeah, that's I think is where I see the big thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Now, where are we heading to?
Yes, I didn't mean to get you out of your vein there.
No. Hey, Hunky Joe Fecco checking in. He is, time for a social. Could you grab me another beer?
Yeah, sure can.
Thank you. All right, Joe's going to grab me another beer. And, I got to do a social with Joe Fecco doing some drinking down in Columbus. Hunky Joe Fecco. Hey, Hunky Joe, why don't you give me a call here? 330-595-1600. 330-595-1600. Hunky Joe, give me a call. I want you to relay your Bob Seger story from the Greens back in the day. So we'll see if we can get Hunky Joe Fecco to call in. 330-595-1600. And we'll see if he does. All right. All right. All right, cheers. I'll tell you what, man, the Boston Lager is really good. I think the Sam Adams Boston Lager, you can't go wrong with this if you're a little high end, you know. And some days, I mean, the Miller Lite and the Bud Light and stuff, I need a little bit more. I need a little bit more.
A little watered down, a little less.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
All right, Hunky Joe, cheers, man. Give me a call if you're still listening, 330-595-1600. Hunky Joe's got a good story about Bob Seger in Youngstown way back in the day.
We've got some breweries in this area, like right up the hill. We could totally get some samples delivered.
Right. Well, I'm working on getting a liquor store sponsor because next week, Playboy cover model Lisa Neild is going to be here.
Sweet.
We got our schedule worked out, and Lisa will be here, and I think we're going to make some Blue Hawaiians. You a fan of the Blue Hawaiian?
I've never had a Blue Hawaiian.
Oh, okay. All right.
It'll be my first.
All right. Well, good. Yeah.
Is it rum, I'm assuming? Because rum seems to come to our show often.
Right, yeah. Rum is a summertime drink,
That's right.
you know. Rum's a summertime drink. So, we'll drink some rum with Lisa. And I just want to see her shake. I want to see her shakers.
You're bringing props to pull that off, right?
Right, yeah. I just don't want to go, hey, let's see you shake 'em, baby. I don't want to sound like a pig, which I am, but I figure, okay, smile and do the, shake the drink shaker.
Yeah, we'll have to get some extra camera angles set up down here.
Yeah.
Joe says they're probably drunk and don't know any better about your singing. So that's a little...
Come on, man.
He got a positive comment.
We were talking about, Keith Moon, that's the one I sing on that one commercial, kind of a variation of Summertime Blues. So,
all right.
Yeah, there is a cure for the summertime blues. Yeah.
There you go.
Taylor Kia, check them out. We love them. They love me. Why? I haven't a clue, but they do. Yeah, I think we covered just about everything on Keith Moon. Now, I want to talk a little bit. Coming up on Thursday, we're going to have a good show, too. Scott and Wayne from Broken Reigns are going to be here.
Sweet.
Great country rock band from the area, and they got some new music out. They got some good originals, so we're going to focus in on that with those guys. I know they're excited to be here. I'm excited to have them here, and especially Scott. Me and his dad go way back to the early country days of the early 80s in the Mahoning Valley, so I'm sure we'll be sharing some stories about that too. And plus, they got some really good music. And so I can't wait to see the guys from Broken Reigns come in here. And I can't wait to give everybody a chance to hear some of their music and some of their brand new stuff. And
good variants in the musical guests we've been bringing through here. Very good.
Right.
Very nice job.
Yeah, me and Justine are going to have the same guests though, but we're going to do it on different days. Steve Acker from the band Law.
Okay.
And he's got a new CD coming out. I know Justine booked them and ahead of me.
What the heck? She's
Yeah.
poaching your
Yeah. 70s rock. Let me handle the 70s rock, and But no, we have enough to talk about. Okay. We have some stuff in common that I think is going to be pretty good. So, hey, and it'll give him a little extra push for his new CD coming out.
Help the musicians for sure.
Yeah, I talked to Damian Knapp this weekend. He wants on. Patsy Palumbo from Left End. We're going to get him on. I'm not sure when we're going to get him on yet, because he has a book coming out on Thanksgiving about the history of Left End, and I think that's going to be good. Maybe we'll get him in for a little bit, like half the show, just a teaser, and then when the book comes out in November, we'll get him on for the full-blown show. But, so many people are fascinated with Left End in this area, and I think that's going to be a good book. I can't wait to see that. So we're going to talk about that. Now, I came across this thing the other day, and it's a website, and it's called Old, Seedy, and Vintage Hotels and Motels.
Old, seedy.
Old, seedy, and vintage. Now, see, I'm a fan of that. I really like roadside Americana because it's vanishing so quick. And when you look back at some of the hotels in the 60s and 50s and 70s, the ma and pa stuff that was really out there before the interstate highways come in. And you look at some of these places, and the architecture and the signs were just fantastic. You know, that have these big fancy signs, and you know that'd be off the beaten path because you know back in the, you know, like you think it brings up memories of like Route 66 or something, and they even had some around here that were like that. But so I started thinking about some of the seedy hotels around Youngstown over the years. And this might be even a little bit more fun than the candy store thing. Okay. Now I'm gonna throw a couple out there, and people could chime in. And also I went on TripAdvisor, and I found some reviews of some of these seedier hotels that are around. Now one of my favorites, I don't really know if it's seedy, but I would say vintage, is the Kingsville Hotel at 193 and I-90. And I mean, it's like, this thing is like a time warp. It's like, it's from, the sign had one of them, the kind of signs I'm talking about at hotels,
yes.
Big neon and crazy things. Yep. And, they had the
vacancy.
Hotel. Yeah, vacancy, maybe color TV,
yes.
that kind of
yes.
thing. And if you one of my favorites, and maybe we'll go and interview some of these people.
Yeah,
now,
let's do it.
The Kingsville Hotel, 193 and I-90, it seems like a pretty nice place, but it seems like they kept the vintage vibe, but it didn't go downhill and like it's a crack haven or a dope den or something like that, And I just love their sign, and I just love the way it looks. It's that old retro Americana that I'm a big fan of. Another one, now this goes back in the day. And some of you might, want to comment about some of these hotels, or maybe you have your own favorite seedy hotel when you were in high school that you took your girlfriend to or whatever. A couple of them that come to mind to me, they had this one in Niles called the Summit Motel. And the sign was always out. It had a neon sign. And it was out, and it was called the Mitmot. The light would, and the Summit Motel was called the Mitmot. So you'd see the Mitmot, and it was like kind of a crazy thing. It's probably one of those places where you could rent rooms by the hour. And what really made it like really seedy, and for people that were like maybe fooling around or something, it had little garages for each room, so you could pull into this garage. And then it was like, they had in the room like vibrating fingers on the bed. And then they had like one of them coin-operated jukeboxes that you would see in a diner.
Wow.
And it had a window. And I swear that I've heard more than one person say that people would go in and peek in the windows, sneak in the carport and peek in the windows. But the Summit Motel on 422, the Mitmot, was... That was a kind of a seedy one.
Man, they got to cater to their customers, though. And their customers are there by the hour. You got to give them what they're looking for.
And another one that was kind of seedy is the May Motel on Mahoning Avenue out in North Jackson, right by the turnpike there. Oh, that place was, that place looked shady as all get out. I know some people went there and said they thought they had two-way mirrors and, peek holes and all kinds of stuff
out
of
horror
there.
Movies.
Oh, yeah. That was, the May Motel, I think, would be on a lot of people's list. And then the Wagon Wheel in Boardman. That was one of those that had that vintage look back in the day, but then I guess that became just like a
drug house.
Yeah. It just went really downhill.
Yeah, citizens do not like that one all that much. I hear people complaining.
Yeah. And then they had those couple out there in Canfield too. Remember those? Those two got shut down. I think. My theory on those were always somebody in Canfield must have been paying off the cops or something, because they let those two places go. They're going to bust you for riding through Canfield 1 mile over the speed limit. But those two seedy hotels out there by the edge of town, they were like they had prostitution and stuff going there, and it's where people cheating on their husband or wife would go to these places, And I'm surprised they let those go as long as they did in Canfield.
Right.
So my theory's always been somebody was paying somebody off or something.
Yeah, no doubt.
And those were two good ones. Then they had one out in North Lima that was over by the turnpike. And I think it finally burnt down. And I mean, that thing was like, I know people that went there and they were saying it was so seedy and how you had to get to the room that they would push the dresser up against the door and hope nobody would bust in.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, did you ever stay at Hotel Conneaut?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, many times.
I've heard that place is haunted. And
it is haunted.
Is it really?
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about it.
It's definitely spooky, man. It's an old vintage hotel, and I'll tell you, you'll hear doors slamming and things like that. And a couple of times I've been in a room there by myself because I did so much stuff up there that, I mean, I had a few incidents where just the hair was standing up on my arms because you could just feel something. It wasn't like whoo or something, but it was like, okay, there's something in this room with me, and it was another time. I remember we went there and I had a meeting like in February or something, and we had a meeting at the hotel when it was shut down. They were doing some remodeling and that sort of thing, and I'll tell you what, I had to use the pisser, and I go back in this one thing, you had to go down this dark hallway and stuff. Believe me, it was just like hair was standing on my arms.
Kidding.
It was like, oh yeah, I definitely felt some presence in there.
Around October, we should do another field trip about some haunted places.
Oh yeah,
you wanna do that?
Yeah. We'll go down to Zombie Land. We'll go all over the place. We'll do a whole tour.
Sweet.
And maybe we'll get some like psychics or something in here to, talk about some of these other places because I know all the places, man. 5 Points out in Hartford and Zombie Land and the Hook Man and the Glowing Grave and the all that kind of stuff. That would be a good one to go on. So that would be cool. Hey, I got to say hi to John Batcho, Mr. Sports checking in. We got to get Mr. Sports on the show, man.
Yeah,
he's got a lot of good stories out there,
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So, back to motels.
Yes. Sorry.
Back to motels. So, there's a couple out there. I'll tell you, 3 of them come to mind right off the top of my head that are still out there. And one is the Villa Arms in McKinley Heights. And it still has the old classic sign. That's why I really like it. It got the old classic neon sign, but the place is shady. And then right next door, they have another one, and the sign says 7-Up Motel. Every time I see the 7-Up Motel, it's like, oh, man.
Where is that?
It's right across from Pine Tree Plaza, right across from the Record Connection.
Yeah.
There's 2 of them right next to Coates. And one's called the McKinley Inn, maybe, and the sign says 7-Up Motel. And I always thought that was funny, just 7-Up.
Right.
And then the Villa Arms is right next door. And, there's always
I
something
always drive
going
by
on
there, but, man, I must be closing my eyes and tuning it out.
Hey, Hose is checking in, man.
Hey,
what's up,
Michael?
A solid.
Yes.
Hose is one of the solids. And so the one is called Villa Arms, or is it Villa Arms? Yeah, Villa Arms. And then there's another one out by the turnpike that's still there, and I think it's called the Budget Inn. And it just has a sign out there that says Budget Hotel, and I think it's $32 a night or whatever. And so I just went on TripAdvisor, and I was like, do anybody even, on a whim today, I went on TripAdvisor, I'm like, do anybody, do people rate these motels, or has anybody stayed there? And I actually come across a few interesting comments about these places on like TripAdvisor or Yelp or whatever. So these are, I need a new phone. I really do. This is an iPhone. Okay, I'm going to talk to you here real quick, and then we'll get back to this. We're running out of time here.
Yep.
So anyways, I got this phone. I think it's an iPhone 5 or an iPhone 6. This is the one that they have the lawsuit out that they were making them deliberately run slow and the battery doesn't work and everything. Should I trade this? I don't owe any money on it, though. Should I trade it in for an iPhone 11 for $20 a month? Okay, everybody's telling me that. Okay.
For sure.
Okay, everybody's telling me that. I'm like, I don't want to. I'm being a cheap bastard here. I don't want this part. This is paid for. But you know what? The battery goes dead so quick all the time. And I never saw anything more about the lawsuit. and then you're supposed to get $25 in the class action or whatever.
Yeah, don't get the newest version. Get one generation older, and then you barely pay anything for it. So use the trade-in value to cover the cost of like the 10 or whatever,
Okay.
and then you should be clear.
So get the 10 instead of the 11 if
Correct.
I can?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Shop it up. If they can give you the 11 for nothing, go for it.
Okay. Yeah, you know what though? But they always say, even though this is paid off, then they want me to start again and say, well, what's going to cost you? Where do these people get these free phones? When they say, I got a free upgrade, how the hell do people do that?
They'll make you if you check the portal, like you AT&T.
Yeah.
Okay, if you log into AT&T,
Yeah.
it'll say if you're eligible for an upgrade, and they'll make you that offer. If you do it too soon, they'll just want to get you into a new sale. Like
Okay.
A new
See, that's what I think they're trying to do to me. But I've had this phone paid off forever. It's an iPhone 5 or 6.
Check it out. Log into
Okay.
their thing.
All right, let's go here. I want to read a couple of these. This one here.
This is the reviews of hotels from CD America.
Okay, this is the Budget Inn at the Turnpike in North Lima.
Okay.
Okay, this one gave it 1 star. It says, in capital letters, do not go there, they suck. We got there at about 4 a.m. on Saturday after driving 9 hours. All we wanted to do was take a hot shower and sleep. We asked for a non-smoking room. We got to the room, and it was ice cold, and it smelled like cigarettes and took forever to warm up. And at 11 a.m., they were banging on the door telling us that we had to leave, threatening to call the cops if we didn't leave now. They also said they were pet-friendly, but when they saw my emotional see, this is why I have to update the phone. Okay, when they saw my emotional support dog, they bugged out on me, saying we didn't offer to pay. Then they yelled at us for saying that we were smoking in the room. We would not have our worst enemy stay there. I think they used to have hookers and drug use there. Okay. Another one. This is here for the Budget Inn in North Lima. Terrible. Roaches and dishonest business practices. Run away. I was lied to several times by the owners. They appear as if they want to improve, but they are the worst. It's really cheap for a reason and less. Okay. Somebody still gave it 2 stars here.
Okay.
Unnecessarily rude female owner. I stayed there about 2 weeks ago. The rooms are not smoke-free, even with the Ohio smoking ban. My clothes smelled like smoke long after I left. The owner was hot-tempered towards me, even though the issue wasn't something I actually did wrong. The $32 a night sign is misleading. It costs $49 for a single room. It's okay to stay if you're low on money, but you don't expect it to be clean and smell good. I stayed a week here while in the middle of a move. They are nice people, but the air system has mold in it. The carpets are stained. Okay. They stick cheap air fresheners in the air vents to try to make it smell better. You get what you pay for. So here's somebody.
We got to call Freddie if you want to take it.
Yeah, we'll take a call. Hello?
Freddie.
Hey.
Joe Fecco here, buddy.
Hunky Joe Fecco. What's up, man?
Yeah. Where have you been hiding?
I'm around, Tuesday night I got bike night over at the Ice House. That's about it. So, I want, so you eating your kapusta?
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I'm retired now, Fred. I don't do nothing no more.
Oh, there you go. It's about time, man. I'm heading in that direction myself. Now, when I saw you on there, and we were talking a little bit about, rock history, tell me your story about Bob Seger at the Greens in Youngstown.
Green.
Yeah.
Yeah, Green. Yeah. Well, he was good friends with Jack Gertchuck at the time. And, Jack, he had the Freak House. He had Jack's house that Jack built. He had the Agora. He had a few places in the area and that, So, basically, a lot of these musicians knew Jack Gertchuck personally. And he was standing out front of the club one night, and Bob used to wear that long fringe jacket.
Yeah, one of them like Davy Crockett leather jackets with all the fringe on it.
Oh, yeah, that's what he was famous for. He was out there smoking a cigarette, minding his own business and that. And local bike gang come by, and they noticed his jacket, and they made a comment about it. They said they liked his jacket. And he thanked them, And they said, yeah, you don't get it. We like your jacket. In other words, they wanted his jacket.
Yeah.
So at the same time, one of Jack's buddies that had the hillside over on Fifth Avenue came out of the club, and he saw what was going on, and he went inside and got a 45 out, and he told him to beat, and they gave him a little bit of lip, and I guess he shot at him a few shots.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, so basically, Bill, I won't say his last name, Bill kind of saved Bob.
Oh, that's crazy, man. Well, Bob Seger played around Youngstown for years and years and years and years. I'd like to interview Bob one day just to ask him about some of the wild times in Youngstown that he's had, because he's played all the outdoor festivals. He's played the Tomorrow Club. He's played just about everything. Mosquito Dam Jam, the Most Beautiful Picnic. He's played them all.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was basically, I think he just lived up the road years ago.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah, I'm going up towards, I guess off of Route 11. What the heck's that up there? I can't think of the area he lived up there towards Ashtabula area.
Oh, yeah?
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Agora or something. He was up that area. I can't remember where. But, well, you know, a lot of musicians came to this area.
Oh, yeah, man. It used to be... Used to be back in the day.
Time, really.
Yep. All right. Hey, thanks. Yeah, thanks for the call, Joe. Let me get running here, but I'll see you soon. Nostrovia.
Yeah, Nostrovia, buddy.
All right, man.
Okay, buddy.
All right. Eat your kapusta. Hunky Joe Fecco, good friend of mine from Lansingville, Ohio, right there. Okay, now let's go to the. How about that? These bikers tried to steal Bob Seger's jacket, and gunshots were fired back in the day. All right, how about this one? Now, this is the Villa Arms. This is the one in McKinley Heights.
Got it.
Do not do it unless you absolutely have to. Upon arriving at the Villa Arms, cops was in the parking lot, had some guy's hands in the air, so that was scary, and strike one. However, it was late, so we stayed anywhere. Walking into the room, it smelled like cat piss was boiling on the heater. Strike two. The room was covered in a thick sheet of dust. Strike three. The bed formed the letter U when we laid in it. Strike four. The shower head popped off every time the water was turned on. Strike five. The toilet ran all night long. Strike six. Windows in the bathroom and AC unit were drafty and cold air came in. Strike seven. Screen door didn't shut completely, so it banged all night through a windstorm. Strike 8, 9, and 10. Strike 11, management was very rude. Strike 12, and the woman there was very unprofessional and gave off a racist aura. Strike 100. I would only recommend this place when all else fails. If you were in a tight pinch, or at least step before a night at the Mission. Oh, it's one step before a night at the Mission, which I'm sure would have been clean and more welcoming than this place.
What do you want for $30? Come on.
That's the Villa Arms there, man. Or you know, we could probably got it by the hour. You could have probably got them down to 20 or 15 if you're real. I won't use any towels, and you know, I'll be out of here. All right, here's somebody else. They gave it 1 star. And it got 3 helpful votes. I don't know who was thinking about stopping there. And what's funny is on the TripAdvisor, it has like points of interest nearby, like the McKinley Memorial and the Mahoning Valley Scrappers. Hey, I'm going to the Scrappers game and the McKinley Memorial. I think I'm going to stop here at the Villa Arms.
Yes.
Here's this one says, rude. We came to this motel looking for a place just for a night that would accept pets. They told us that they accept pets, but not that many people. I asked her what she meant, and she said, not that many people. Not that many people. It was me, my girlfriend, my daughter, and a dog. They refused to let us use the room, saying that I was lying. Lying about what? She wouldn't say. Telling me that's what they all say. It's just me, my wife, my daughter, and my dog. That's what they all say. You know?
Sneaking in like the drive-in. They got them all in the trunk.
The guy said, I had no clue what she was talking about. She was very rude and insinuating something other was going on to take place. So she must have thought that, yeah, the wife, the daughter, and the dog. Yeah, we know what this is all about. Been there, done that.
Yeah.
And so, and then I don't know what she was talking about or trying to accuse us of, but I will never lay eyes on this place again. It was run down and poorly taken care of. Stay clear. So there you go. If you're planning on staying in the valley, that's your trip advisory on the Villa Arms and the Budget Inn in North Lima.
But all of your vintage hotels, they all smell like smoke because you could smoke in every stinking room for 40 years.
Yeah, right.
Know?
I mean, I don't think they have a chemical out
No,
there
you're
that
not
will
getting rid of
will
that.
do that. I thought one said the carpets were sticky too. Maybe we should do a survey one day and vote for your favorite cheap motel in the Mahoning Valley over the years, because I know some of you have been out there. Whether you're fooling around on your spouse or you were in high school and you needed a place to shack
every
up.
time we'd go down to Caddis to do hunting, we'd have to stay in those stupid hotels down there.
Oh.
And I almost wanted to sleep in my hunting gear because it was so gross.
Hey, did you ever see those ones too where they were just like little tiny cabins?
Yes.
Well, that's why you got to like that page. What was the name of that page again?
Old seedy and vintage.
Yeah, old seedy and vintage hotels and motels. There's some cool stuff on there though. But back in the day, back in the 40s and 50s, I mean, there were some really cool places out there. I mean, even if you would stay at look at the Holiday Inn sign. That's still classic, And if you remember Howard Johnson's, they used to have some classic signs and everything, and some of the chains back in the day. But the ma and pa independent places back in the day when there were no interstates, those were really cool, and you still see some around. So maybe one day, should we do a tour?
No, I ain't going on that one. I draw a line, Freddie.
Oh, you'll come on the tour to find the best perch sandwich on Lake Erie.
And the haunted hotels, but no crabs in hotel rooms. Not at all.
I think in some of those places, crabs would probably be the least of your worries, man.
I'll bring my black light. We'll really discover some stuff.
I wouldn't even want to do that. I think I would be too grossed out. I think some of these hotels that CSI Miami couldn't figure out what was in there. They'd use them for training. All right, we want you to figure out, okay.
Was there a murder or stepping out on your wife?
Okay, there's blood, there's some kind of crusty stains, and there's a lot of hair.
Oh, so bad.
Well, what did we determine? There's about 50, 70 to 100 people that may have been involved in some sort of crime in
right
this
here.
place. If you can identify everybody from the DA&A in this room, you will be chief of police. We will make you the head of the CSI.
Jimmy Hoffa. I know he's...
Well, what do you think? Let's wrap this up.
Yes.
Let's let Morris Ray get in here. I want to thank everybody for checking us out today. Don't forget, coming up on Thursday, big show. My buddy Wayne and Scott from Broken Reigns are going to be here. They'll be debuting some new music. And, of course, we'll be talking about all the normal Youngstown stuff that we talk about with all the musicians, because everybody that's played in bars and stuff has their favorites back in the day and crazy stories and everything. So we'll get them on. And then coming up on Tuesday, Playboy cover model Lisa Neild. And then coming up on the 17th, comedian Johnny Lee Dam.
Sweet.
So we're getting a good lineup, and I'm working on a whole lot of other guests. I don't want to say too much because I want to make sure we got them all firmed in and ready to rock. But all right, well, thanks, Joe.
All right.
Yeah, we'll have a guest coming up on Thursday, next Tuesday, next Thursday. So it's just not going to be me and you sitting here babbling and me drinking here. So
all right, make sure you find us on Spotify, iTunes. You can subscribe to our channel. Look for Youngstown Studio, and you'll find all of Freddie's past shows. And you can also find us on any of your favorite podcasting platform.
All right, sounds good. Well, thanks, Joe. Cheers. Let me finish up my Samuel Adams. Bike night tonight at the Ice House in Austintown. We'll see you out there. And then coming up on Thursday, we got the guys from Broken Reigns. Peace out.